Hi friends, thanks for joining me today. This is the first in a series that I'm going to present. We are going to make something very creative, and I hope you'll join me. Welcome to Grimoire Club. For those of you who may not know, a grimoire is a book kept by practitioners of magic. It can be called a spell book, or a book of shadows, or a book of magic. There are individual definitions for these terms, but in modern pagan usage, they're all interchangeable. So pick the one that you like and you may call your book that. There is something inherently magical about keeping a book that is essentially a record of your spiritual journey. Many people who are new to the craft, or even those like me who have been on this path for decades, tend to find the actual writing of the book to be a daunting task. Most of us want to keep a book of shadows or a grimoire or whatever you wish to call it, but don't know how to begin. There are lots of choices to make, and there are lots of things holding you back. Like, we worry if we're writing down the right information, or if our handwriting is pretty enough, or if our organization makes any sense. The truth is, if you choose to write it down, it's correct. And whatever your handwriting is, it's fine. It's a book of your spiritual journey, what you've learned, what you continue to learn. All of it is correct. That being said, I have never actually successfully written my own grimoire, and many of us have not, but many of us want to. So that's why we're here. We are going to go through this process step by step. What I'm going to do in this series is break it down into little chunks, and hopefully by the end of it, we will all have a book. As far as the content of the book, we are going to break it down into little sections. Now keep in mind, what is relevant to me and that I want to include in my grimoire may not be relevant to you. And that's okay. And there might be topics that are relevant to you that I don't include in my grimoire. That's okay too. We will talk about ways to include some of the things that maybe I'm not including so that you will have a book that is truly your own by the time we're done. And the first part of this journey is deciding what kind of book you want. And when I say what kind of book, what I mean is the physical thing that you want to hold in your hands when you are done with this process. I will add the caveat that you can do this all digitally if you want to. I am not, well, because I don't, but if you want to make digital files or open, I can't think of any of the apps right now, but there are apps that allow you to kind of like make books, and you want to do it in one of those, great, go for it. The process is largely the same. It's just you don't have the physical considerations or supplies, which are going to be the first things we talk about. So the physical book. You may choose to purchase a ready-made blank book. I bought this one in 2005. It probably came from Barnes & Noble. Probably. And as you can see, I started writing in it a few things, and then I just gave up. So I have all of these beautiful blank pages. I have some leaves from my favorite maple tree that is long no longer with us. This is a very fine choice if you want to start with a completely bound book and not worry about any of those things. This is permanent in the sense that you can't peel pages out and move them around and change the organization. This is what you get. And that's fine. Now there are many kinds of books like this. You don't have to buy a book this thick. This is substantial. I want to say it's something like 700 pages, but I don't remember, and the label is long gone. You could also buy something a little bit smaller. There we go. This book came from Spirit Halloween last year, and these pages are lined. There's a leaf. These pages are not lined. I am a not lined person myself, but you make your choice. There's also, you can find lovely bound handmade books like this one. This absolutely gorgeous book came from the Good Witch of Salem in Salem, Massachusetts. I love the rustic edge of these pages. It's such a delightful book. Something like this would make an excellent grimoire, very witchy. It's pink, which isn't my color, but I don't care. I loved the book so much. And the little latch system here. How fun is that? You may choose a book that you bind yourself and then fill. This is a book that I made probably last month that I just bound, blank pages. If you want a pre-bound, ready-made book, go for it. There are lots of options. There are also options for books where you can change things around, move pages. Some of them you can move them by section, and some of them you can move individual pages depending on what you choose. This book was a kit that came from the Witchery in Salem, Massachusetts, and it was a bookmaking kit. She came with it's a little dusty from where I had it sitting, came with the etchable leather and instructions and the paper that goes inside. Now, each one of these, because of how it's bound, I can pull out these individual sections and move them around, or if I fill it up, I can take it out and put a new section in. That is an option. And we can also talk about how to bind our books this way if you want to do that. So then it will be completely hand bound by you and also changeable. If you wish, there are any number of binders that you could use. Here is just like a regular school size binder. I bought it for my daughter and she decided she didn't want to use it. So there it is. It's got some pockets. It's got some folder pockets in here, which of course you can take out, and that could use regular loose leaf paper that you can find in the store. Oh, that's in my way. You could also buy a smaller binder like this one. I have some dividers in here. Obviously, I have not used this for anything, but then you can open up these clips and put your paper in there. There's a variety of those. Here's another one that's like that. This book is really cute. It's one of those, I have no idea what to put in this. Here's another binder. So all of these pages can be taken out, reordered, and put back in. Great little notebook. My camera just fell over. Another binder option is this bad boy. I started on it, but never finished it. What I did with this one is I purchased a file, a Book of Shadows file, that I decided I was going to print out and eventually color, and I put it in these plastic covers? Cover the right word? Page protectors, so that I could pull them out and color everything in and all of that. That was the plan with this one. The file that I bought is like 700 pages long, and I'm pretty sure I've probably got I've got like 400 pages in here. I don't know. That was a process, and I knew it was an ongoing process, and I've kind of abandoned it, but it does have some useful information in there. You could also make something like this. This is a traveler's journal that I made. The traveler's journal tends to be thinner than most books, but it has like these smaller notebooks that you can slip in and out. Let me see if I can find the middle here. There's a band in here, and this whole thing slides out. I can do it, honest. Here we go. So this whole thing can slide out, and you can change things around that way if you wanted to do something like that. I am not making a book like this for this project or one that is probably easily translatable into this, but I don't think it's impossible if you decide you want to do something like this one. You see I have embroidered my logo on the front. I filled this with quite a lot of things. I did some embroidered spell work on there. There's a stabilizing page inside that has some spells in it. I had a lot of fun making this. I use it a lot. It's very nice. So the first thing that you need to decide is what kind of book, what kind of physical book you want when you're done. Blank, ready-made, go for it. If you want to bind your book outright like I'm doing, that's great too. There are some further decisions that you need to make. You will need paper and bookbinding tools. We can get away with some things. There are some specialized bookbinding tools that you can probably get away with not having. We'll talk about that when we get to making the covers and binding the books. Whatever you choose for your book, you need to decide on a size. So if you want regular copy paper size, or let's see, I think it's this one. That's just my pile of books over here. Something like this, which is about half page size. This is digest size, I think is what this would be, which is a regular copy paper, 8.5 by 11 inches, folded in half. That's the size that I'm going to make, but you may choose whatever you want. If you decide to go with a binder, you're probably also going to want a hole punch. They do make punches that are specific to binders, something like that. That is the first decision. What kind of book do you want to make? Do you want a binder? You can move everything around. Do you want bound but adjustable, or just a completely bound book? And what size? Like this book is bigger than this book. So not the thickness, because we're going to work on content as we go. Decide your width and height that you want to work with. I am working with 5.5 by 8.5. That's my choice. And think about that. And then we'll talk about supplies. I was going to end it here, but I do want to talk a little bit about what I have planned for this series. So the first step is this one, the introduction, and where you get the ideas in your head for your books. I am hoping to release a video monthly, and that gives us a good long time to work on. I had to stop and swallow there. In my beautiful teacup, by the way, is Victorian London Fog by Harney & Sons. It's very tasty. I got completely off track. I am hoping to release a video monthly so that you have some time to reflect on each section and what you want to include. I can't promise that because my schedule and my life is chaotic, but we're going to try monthly. I currently have it broken down into 9 sections, not including today, where we'll talk about supplies next time, and then we will get into some content, and then at the end we will bind our books. So for those of you who choose to join me and completely bind your book, we'll do that towards the end. And then the very last thing is I will offer you some words that you can use to dedicate your book. So I've been planning this for a really long time, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And I think it can also be a very meaningful practice. Part of the reason why I am going to completely bind my book outright is that I can insert spiritual meaning into every step. And that is important to me. If it's less important to you, that's fine. There is nothing that says a book that's already been made cannot be a spiritual treasure. So over the next month or so, think about the size and the type of book that you want to make. Don't fret about this. This is like one of the big parts that people fret about when they sit down to write their grimoires is what kind of book. Don't really fret about this. Take some time, but if you make a choice, stick with it. Whatever your choice is. If you choose a binder, make your binder. Go through the process. Get it done. So if you decide that you really did not like the binder and you want to make a permanently bound book instead, then you can always go back. You have the information written down already. You can always go back. So don't fret too much about this choice. Make a decision, run with it, because there's always time to do it again, especially if you've done it once, because once you've done it one time, it's easier the next time, I promise it is. I'm really looking forward to this journey, and I hope you'll join me. And thank you so much for joining me today. I'm grateful for you, and I'll see you next time.